art. It's meant to make us see life through a different perspective. While some art is praised for its ingenuity, because it's visionary, or because it's essential for how we look at art today, other art is categorized as lesser, using terms like urban, ethnic, or anything in between the cracks. It makes you think, am I an artist? With all the intersections that make me who I am. Layers on top of 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 layers. Creating culture.
Oh my god, that's so ethnic.
I'm Luis and I'm from Venezuela. It's quite interesting my journey because I never thought about it to become an artist. Never in my life. When I was a child, like growing up in Venezuela, I always been taught like I had to be a businessman, an engineer, a doctor. I never even got the chance. For example, I remember when I was 10, once I asked my mom about graphic design because it was a school about arts in my city. And she told me like, if you do this, you will be nobody in the world. And I remember in that moment I was like, no, this is not gonna happen, never me. I never like really give it a thought, even to my creativity. I always felt bad, for example, if I was drawing, I was like, I never felt the passion because I was always linking it to the moment when I thought like, well, this is not gonna bring me to anywhere. So I closed a lot of my exploring in this kind of more creativity world. Mm-hmm. So when I moved to Belgium 7 years ago, I moved when I was 16. I still have this mentality for like I'm gonna be a businessman. I was gonna study business administration. In de speaker had ik zo de muziek van het muziekfestival gezet, zo de klassieke muziek. I have always this curiosity of art and design and all this art, visual art mostly, that I was thinking like, how did they make this? Like I always saw it really impossible to me. I was like, this is not gonna be something that I will make. This is not something that I was not born with. So I was thinking like, how can you learn something like this? So you have graphic design, but you also have more like information design. Is more about how can you make complex information to make it more understandable to people. Like something that is complex, how can people understand it better? And then you learn and how this is like a link between art, data visualization, graphic design, and multimedia design. So it's a bit like this all combined to see on how you can explain something better and something more in a different way that already existed. And this, it was a feeling. It's again like, it was a feeling that I was belonging there, even if I was reading to other things and in my head like, no, this is what you have to do. I decided to let go a lot of my limitations, a lot of like of the narrative that actually was not my narrative. It was just something that I created to protect myself, to go into the world and to be like, I have to be this person to be in society, I think. Mm-hmm. But when I let go of that thought and that fear, I really connect with a feeling that I never had it before. I think my cultural background, it comes so Latin America. It's a beautiful culture, and you have so many like, how you say this, is like you have really this warm feeling and everybody say that, and you have it, like everybody's so welcoming, but I always have the feeling I never got understood what I was going through, even as a queer person and even as myself as a person. And I feel a lot of people in Venezuela, for example, there's a lot of misunderstanding in themselves, and there's a lot of reality they have in their head. It's like they always have to be this perfect person, they always have to fake a little bit, and I always have the feeling that was not even to be themselves, and I think a lot of people struggle with that, even myself a lot. So my art is always, how can I express something by the truth and not really trying to hide something. I think my culture of Venezuela mostly, there are a lot of resiliency behind, and people just always try to adapt to the situation, and I think this is something that I also can see it when I'm making something. I always want to try to connect emotions with information, because I feel there's a lot of rationality in the information we consume today sometimes, like important information, like for example, social topics. And I think it could be nice to really connect those two things. For example, even in politics, the way they explain things sometimes is so complicated to people that people don't really understand anything. But if you make something more emotional, more accessible, like more human, like, you know, I feel that people understand more and they can reflect a bit more and, you know, make a little change. There are three things, I think, main things that always inspire me, and it's my family. To hear them talking, I find it really inspiring to see also what they overcome. The secondly is my friends. They just, the way they make me feel inspire me to always do better in life and my art. They always push me to do things that maybe I'm scared. So, and they always by my side in the sense of they will tell me the truth, even though if maybe I don't like to hear it sometimes. And the third one I think is connected is people. I find it so fascinating. For example, I was in Paris and I was looking to this. I was walking and I saw this family, and the way the mom was just taking the photo of the child, and to see they were making a memory, and that little thing made them happy, just by a photo. Then a child, for example, started like running and fell down, and he's like crying, but like then you see he stand up and go. And grandma, for example, eating, really simples like that. It just really inspired me to see how we're just all the same, and it's funny to be like, it's also really funny for me sometimes to think that we're all different. To see the pureness of humanity is really, really nice. It made me feel always really like comfort to understand that a lot of things are not so complicated and how I think they are, and to understand that people are going through maybe the same things, worse things, other things. It's really, really nice to see the little interactions we have, you know. I underestimate that sometimes, just the eating fact, the walking and talking. So people inspire me a lot, random people.
Dile que vamos para cá, obviamente, da estação, vai sobre o metro estação, like, okay, vamos para cá.
You think that you have this idea, and then you're like, oh fuck no, because it's gonna be too complicated to get there. After I get my nationality, Belgian nationality, I will be doing it. You know, it's always like I'm gonna postpone everything for that moment. And sometimes I try to tell myself like, okay, but you can start a bit by a bit, and maybe just this time to explore a little bit in small steps, which is, I think, is also super nice to start, and not start big in the moment. You have to like grow a bit. But because of society, I limit like unconscious myself too. But to the other side, I mean, also really lucky where I end up with my group of people. Mentality helps a lot too. So I always try to accept what is the reality as me as a migrant, but also that doesn't define me either. And it was so nice to understand that we don't have to do things alone, and we can do collective things for other people. So we do it for ourselves, but as a community. So for example, my project was, okay, I thought about it, and but when I executed, also with my friends, they have the ideas. So I think with a community, you make something more value to what you bring, and it makes more beautiful the message you want to put behind. And I think it's really important, because without community, I think you would be an egocentric person. So yeah, I think it's a really, 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 really important thing.